Once upon a time there lived a man with name at Sam. I might have heard this name afore, maybe. One day he took the notion that he'd like to sail on ocean, so he went away and enlisted in the King's Navy. He went to the recruiting place one morning on his bike and said, "I've come to join with Drake and Nelson and the like." Bloke looked at Sam and said, "You've got ambition, I can see, but before you get to Admiral, you start here at AB. Now, what's your name?" he said like that, as sharp as any knife. "And what's your occupation? That's your job in civil life." Sam looked quite hurt, being spoke to curt, as you might say, but he stood his ground to show he wasn't feared in any way. "Sam Hawkins is my name," he said, as hearty as he could, "and my job is making Guggle boxes out of bits of wood." Bloke looked at Sam from where he sat at desk and raised his eyes. On his face was what you call a look of pained surprise. "Now you make Guggle boxes, eh?" said he. "I've heard them tales afore. Now, what exactly would they be and what you make 'em for?" "That's got me there," said Sam at last with puzzled look in eye. "I must have made some 1,000, but they never told me why. I made 'em just 6 inches wide and just 6 inches tall and just 6 wide. They'd be 6 inches overall. Right in the top I used to put an hole 2 inches wide. And blown if I could get my blooming hand to go inside." Bloke says, "This Guggle box sounds a funny tale to me. I'll put thee down as carpenter." And so Sam went to sea. One night a great big storm blew up and battered Sam's poor boat. An officer next morning said, "Oh well, we're still afloat. There'll be some carpentering and what not to be done." Then he looked at listers' names and says, "Sam Hawkins, he's the one." He called for Sam, and when Sam come, he looked him through and through and said, "So you're a carpenter? I've got a job for you." "Nay, lad," said Sam, "I ain't no carpenter, not me. I ne'er made nowt but Guggle boxes 'fore I come to sea." He looked at Sam as though poor Sam was talking through his hat. "Guggle box? By gum, old lad, now what the heck is that?" "That's got me there," said Sam with puzzled look in eye. "I must have made some 1,000, but they never told me why. I made 'em just 6 inches wide and just 6 inches tall and just 6 wide. They'd be 6 inches overall. Right in the top I used to put an hole 2 inches wide, and blowed if I could get my blooming hand to go inside." The officer he glares at Sam. "Quite nasty, you can see. I'll take thee up to captain. He'll know how to deal with thee." Then up in front at captain Sam were taken right away. An officer reported what Sam had said that very day. Captain, with a puzzled frown and plainly very vexed, "Guggle boxes," said he, "what will they think on next?" He looked at Sam and said to Sam, "In all my life at sea I ne'er did come across one. Now then, what they supposed to be?" That's got me there, said Sam at last, with puzzled look in eye. I must have made some thousand, but they never told me why. I made 'em just 6 inches wide and just 6 inches tall and just six. Why, they'd be 6 inches overall. Right in the top, I used to put an hole 2 inches wide, and Lord, if I could get me blooming hand to go inside. The captain, he looked at Sam. I'll tell thee what, said he, thee go and fetch a Guggle box and bring it here to me. So Sam gets leave to ashore to fetch a Guggle box, and later on he comes right back to Captain's door and knocks. I break thee one, he said, and placed the box in Captain's hand. The captain looked at it and said, "This speaks the blooming band. It is about 6 inches wide and just 6 inches tall and just six. Why, it is 6 inches overall. Right in the top there is a hole about 2 inches wide. And blood if I can get me blooming hand to go inside." He turned it round and round and put the hole up to his eye like Nelson did afore him with his telescope. Then sighed. Then he lost his temper. "Drat the blooming thing," said he. "I can't see what it's for." And then he kicked it in the sea. Sam looked at Captain, then at sea. They both rushed out outside to see the box that's drifting on the gently ebbing tide. And then as box through water and it sank without a struggle, they both distinctly heard it. Go, 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 go.